welcome back to MechaNORN, which is episode 2. And I have two guests here today. I have Jero.
Launching. Oh wait, that's our guest's quote.
Yeah, and our special guest, Amaru.
What's up? I can't tell you how hard I laughed when I heard Jero say that last episode.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. It was pretty good.
That's my little salute to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yep, and just like last week, we're going to talk about the mechs of the season. So, starting with Cross Ange, episode 3, Vilkis Awakens, which I guess is the name of one of the robots in this series. Kind of weird name. But, yeah, we jump right back into it after Coco gets killed, and we see Ange still trying to escape. So, yeah, I guess she's not really learned her lesson after seeing someone else get killed in front of her. And, yeah.
Yeah, we had talked about, kind of like predicting like where the deaths would come from, and we kind of thought that Miranda might come to resent Ange after what happened with Coco's death, but it turns out she didn't even have time for that because she got eaten.
Yeah, it was pretty fast. I was like, she's just like, oh, I'm gonna chase her, and then gets picked off by these dragons. I'm like, Jesus, like, she didn't get to do anything, like you said. No chance to hate Ange or anything. It's just like, bam, gone. And to add to that death, we had Zola. She kind of died too, because Ange was freaking out and like latched onto her robot, and that whole death scene was kind of stupid. What do you guys think on Zola's death?
I don't think anything because I'm not watching Cross Ange.
Okay.
I should have mentioned that earlier, but I guess now's a good time. Like when I saw that it was being directed by Fukuda, which is he directed Gundam Seed and Destiny. And I saw just kind of the general buzz around it. I was like, nope, this one isn't for me.
Yeah. As for me, who did watch it, I talked about the shock value in the previous two episodes. It's just so, well, we were expecting death and we were expecting all of this and all of these emotions. So it was graphic. There's blood gushing out from everywhere, probably more blood than is in an actual human body. But the eye falling out is kind of like a nice, oh crap kind of touch to it.
Right, and I almost feel that Ange is probably like, thankful that Zola got killed because she was kind of being a little aggressive with her last week, like wanting to rape her. Like, come on, get off me, really. So with her death, it's fine. Whatever. I didn't really care for her much anyway. Even Miranda, we didn't really get a chance to know her, so it's like, whatever. Another pointless death to me. That's what I feel. And I guess when she wakes up the next day, she's like tied down, bandages all over her, and I guess she, kind of still insulting them, saying the Normans are still not human, and it's kind of stupid to me.
It's the only thing they really bandaged up was her dignity and her decency. Other than that, she's basically naked.
Yeah, she's wearing like a bandaged bikini, basically. It's kind of like, okay. Well, that doesn't really do a whole lot, but whatever.
She got injured in her breast and her nether regions, okay. That was
guess.
the only damage she sustained.
It's like, what about the fight suit? I guess that came off, okay, whatever.
Yeah, maybe a little more exposure, or a little less exposure on those suits would be good.
Yeah, we'll talk about the suit again later on. It's a weird moment later. But I guess she is told that her kingdom apparently is no more, that the people have revolted, I guess, and her kingdom's gone, basically. And I was like, that's probably a lie, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we have to see if, like, at some point maybe things went into turmoil. There are some people that might have protested after what happened with Angelis.
Right, yeah. And with that, we have Hilda and Salah. They get promoted because, the captain, the lieutenant died last week, so it's like, yeah, you get promoted. So they're pretty much like, not really excited about it. That's kind of bad.
Yeah, and they're not really even interesting enough characters to where we can have a reaction to their promotion.
Right. Hilda's just the second bitch character. That's all she is, really.
Yeah.
And Salah is she's kind of nice, but not really. She did pull a knife on Ange the second episode, so it's like both of them kind of aren't really. And make matters worse, everyone hates Ange, because you got 3 people killed last mission, so it's like we don't care about you.
She's got 3 people killed. She's still calling it. She's still insulting everybody as if she's like not exactly in the same position as they are.
Right. It's kind of silly how that worked out. And after she recovers finally, they kind of make her drag these gravestones of the girls that died. So she has to basically carry these big stones to the grave point. So it's kind of like more punishment for her. She gets, I guess, to feel the weight of the people that died. So it's kind of silly.
Mm-hmm.
But
and that's a scene where, well, I was actually going to say it doesn't work because that's a scene where you could have this sort of moment of reflection within Ange, where she literally dove into the arms of Zola's mech, saying to save her, and she's responsible for their deaths. So there's an opportunity there to kind of understand, sort of have it weigh down on her heavy, but because the show kind of just goes from point to point, and it's just kind of, well, okay, we do this part here where we make them where it feels like they're going too fast through points to really provide any sort of emotional impact on the viewer.
Right, so I guess you want more of like an emotional version instead of actually literally carrying something heavy.
Which I understand is asking too much of this show.
Yeah. I mean, there's a moment at the end that kind of makes you kind of roll your eyes. For the people that saw, like, I don't forget what show it was, Blade something, yeah, Blade and Soul, there's a moment exactly at the end that's kind of exactly the same. It's like, haircut scenes, like, we're supposed to cry on that? Like, I don't really feel anything at all during that.
Time for some character growth or development.
Right.
Yeah, haircut off. Well, I'm better now.
And I always hate how, I kind of complained about this in a previous recording. Why does it have to be cool? Why do they have to take a knife and just a clean swipe and haircut immediately?
Right, yeah. We had the same problem with in Alno Zero, when they shot the handcuffs off of Slane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the one that I brought up.
Yeah, it's just a badass moment just to be a badass moment. Like, it's supposed to look cool, but it doesn't really come off that way.
No.
Especially in this series. But after that, Anne just kind of breaks down when she basically wants to die. She keeps saying, kill me, but the leader of these girls is like, no, you're going to die in battle like these other girls. So she's kind of forced to get into another dragon fight. And they give her this beat down piece of junk robot that everyone could see a mile away. That's the special robot of the series. I mean, it's just the way it's covered up. It's put in a secret area. It's like, obviously this is the mech of the of the show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they get into a big fight, and Ange is still freaking out. She still doesn't know what she's doing, and she saves, I guess, Salai. She saves her, kind of, sort of, maybe not really. I don't know. How this is weird.
Yeah, it's a weird, like, I want to die, and then she gets there, and then the mech turns yellow. I don't want to die now.
Yeah,
and then
go ahead.
Yeah, she basically just remembers that thing about what her mom said, and of course the thing where, as you write, I'll go ahead and jump ahead of you with your notes here. Delicious tears plus ring equals, oh my god, super freedom power up.
Yeah, pretty much. She literally cries on this ring, and the robot just goes from rust piece of crap to like, oh my god, it's brand new robot, like strike freedom basically. And she, two shots the dragon. And after she, she did piss herself. That was a scene they put in there. I was like, do we really need that? But I guess they put it in there. It was, kind of stupid for me, but
yeah, it's even animating that scene that way is kind of dumb. You just put like a noticeably darker stain on her pants instead of almost looking like she dropped a bottle of water.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I get, being scared and you piss yourself, but it's like, she fought the dragon the first time, but she didn't do that. Like, she's doing it the second time, she does it. Like, okay, I guess. But
yeah, I think they just used that as kind of like she was close to accepting death, and then she kind of stepped back and kind of feared death, and then
it almost feels like the Suzaku thing from Code Geass. He's told to live on, he won't die. So with her, it's almost the same thing. It's like a mental thing, I guess, with her. Since she's heard the phrase, she's like, well, I guess my life's worth something, and decides that, I might as well fight and, push everything aside. But even after all the super fighting robot stuff, we get Anne, like I said, at the end, cuts her hair, and she's slowly accepting her fate, but not really. She's still, I think still hanging on to the idea that she can go back to her kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she thinks anyway.
Yeah, but by the time that'll happen, she'll realize everything is a lie.
Right. Her family's
including
dead.
the cake.
Yeah. And the pudding apparently too at the end, so that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, the pudding is a lie. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. And extra stuff from the episode. I mean, I like the cool mech fights in the beginning with the dragons. So they look cool at least.
Yeah, I like the dragon's attack where he sort of, there's like a ring that kind of went around him and then he flapped his wings and it was like all these little energy bullets kind of like flying around.
Yeah. They're borrowing the Macross missile spam and just doing dragon breath spam.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's cool. And we mentioned the gore everywhere. I mean, there's lots of gore in this episode. I was surprised. You know, especially like you said, like the eye rolling down into her lap. Like, oh, okay. I mean, I know it's a fake eye, but still, it's still kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just blood for the sake of blood.
Yeah. And the last thing, the pudding. You know, she's eating this pudding that she threw away, I think a day before, and she starts crying. Like, you know, I guess because I guess who gave it to her? I guess she's remembering. But it's like a scene that's kind of like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to feel during that. I mean,
it's that part where she's sort of accepting a little bit. It's a little bit of a character development where instead of, you know, just throwing away the pudding because she's like, I'm more than these people, that now she's kind of experiencing some regret about that maybe.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the whole episode as a whole. It's like it's slowly pushing her to development, but a lot of people are complaining that, you know, Ange is a shitty character and no one likes her. And,
oh yeah.
And
yeah,
it's like I don't like her either, but it's like I don't want a growth where it's like one episode she's fine. I mean, that's what I mean. Like at the episode 2, if she went to prison the next day she woke up and she's fine, it's like that's not what I want. I want a, you know, I don't want a Kirito 2.0 where it's everything's fine for her.
Yeah, I mean she's an awful character, but she's not exactly an awfully written character.
Yeah.
To where it's like, well, this is just. I think people can say that about the new girl from Psycho Pass.
Right.
Is that I don't think she's really a well-written character, and also being not likable, that's bothering. But with Ange, she's awful, but she's not written awfully.
Right. People just gotta understand her from her point of view. I mean, she's been sheltered this entire her lifestyle. You know, she's had people wait on her hand and foot, never done anything for herself, and that world basically turns upside down next day, and it's like she has to, you know, change. And it's like no one's gonna take a certain way of living and then put them somewhere else. They're not gonna change automatically. It just takes time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were basically writing Ange as like maybe the worst character of the season. I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, there are certainly worse characters off in this season, but I don't know.
I could see myself agreeing with her. I mentioned the girl from Psycho Pass, Shimotsuki, who I would put in that category, and Ange would be up there.
Right, yeah. And from that, I mean, we talked about G Gundam, or your Gundam G, no Reconguista. Episode 4, Wild Dance of the Catsmith, which, another weird title. I don't know if it's really titles. It seems so weird to me.
I always think of the character from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Catsif.
Yep. I think it's also in a Sword Art, isn't it? The cat race. I don't know. I have to ask Skyline, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
it's you know the cat-like people.
Yep. And this episode basically jumps with, you know, Belle, Monday, and Norindo kind of being escorted, not really taken captive. It's more like they're being like welcome guests at this you know, American base. I guess you could call it a base, maybe.
Amr?
What was that?
No, I was just saying, you know, they're not really been taken hostage. They're kind of like guests. Feels like to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It is.
Like they, you know, they're not so much hostage as they are there, right? Like it also kind of goes back to like how, you know, when they were escaping in the first place, Ido with the machine, and he didn't really do much to let them go. You kind of find out later that he kind of let them escape on purpose because he's using it as an excuse to attack.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
it's like
sense.
yeah. Now, okay. So now I have my excuse to, because they're not really allowed to do military actions, but now he's using the pretense of it being a rescue operation that he can go send out his forces to attack these American pirates.
Right, yeah. And I thought it was kind of weird because like Bell, he technically killed one of their commanders. Like, why are they being so nice to him? You know, like
Yeah.
wouldn't they throw him in like the brig or something, just keep him there, interrogate him? But they're just kind of like, he's cool. Like, he killed one of your guys. Do you realize that, right? I think Ada even makes a comment like that. Like, he killed so and so. Like, we should, under pirate law, we should, deal with him. Whatever. It's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's an unusually relaxed approach to having what can be essentially considered the enemy on your turf, and it's certainly atypical.
Right, that's true. And like Emma was saying, the Capital Army is doing like a big celebration. Everyone's there. I guess the main priest dude, he's there too, and like you said, they're using the rescue operation as an excuse to go all out with their military and show off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it turns out the only people that didn't know were Bellry and his mom.
Yeah, everyone's kind of like, when did the military get so big? They're kind of surprised.
Well, yeah, like they, and again, this is one of those things where like the conversations in this show are so uniquely Tamino, right? Where you have to be like really, really paying attention. It doesn't help though that the Capitol Guard and the Capitol Army have very similar names, right? So the Capitol Guard, which Bellry was a part of, training to be a part of, are they're responsible for maintaining and protecting the tower, whereas the Capitol Army is something completely new that was formed very recently. So, not even, so like you said, like Bellry and his mom didn't even know about that, even though they're like, Bellry's mom is pretty high ranking when it comes to, the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
Right, she is. Yeah.
So they're sort of like, right. I think the best way to describe the world situation right now in G-Reco is that it's sort of a Cold War buildup, like the Ameria is having open hostilities with another country. Whereas the capital, which is sort of like in northern South America, like it's up in Brazil, like in the jungle. They're by themselves over here. Like they're the ones distributing all the energy to the other countries. And right now, of course, they're building up their military power, even though, like they sort of briefly mentioned that that's a taboo, right? Because they don't want to return to the militaristic ways of the previous century, which would be the universal century.
Right, yeah, they mentioned that in the episode, I think 3, and then this week they mentioned the AD calendar as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, they're going against some, I guess, AG taboo. It's like some kind of tech thing where, I guess, just like the other Gundams, like we're with peacetime, so we can't develop new weapons. But they're doing it secretly behind everyone's back, building up the military. And I guess they mentioned something about an attack from above. So I'm like, is there another faction we don't know of yet that's going to be revealed here soon? So I'm wondering.
Yeah, as far as I know, the moon is a faction as well. Like, I think the biggest separating factor right now, and why Ida mentioned AD, the AD timeline, which would have been, basically our AD right before the Universal Century, was that they've gone back to having multiple countries warring on the planet, right? Where in Universal Century, all the governments had centralized with the Federation. And over time, the Federation broke down and eventually, was no more, which led into the reguild century, which is where we're at right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and I also they mentioned that His Holiness was there at the thing, talking about, I guess he was overseeing the military. So it's like, how much pull does the church have involved in this story? Seems like we have a lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that main priest dude's probably the main villain right now.
Well, the church is centralized at the cap. They basically run the world right now because there is a religion that right now controls the power distribution, the energy distribution to the whole world.
Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta pay your tithes in order to get your electricity bill.
Basically.
If you don't, you're screwed. And we get back with Bell and the other people, and I guess they reveal Bell's dad's like an operations officer and I guess in the Capital Army, I guess. Because I was wondering about him, like where does he come into play?
I think Wilmot is actually his mom.
Okay, well, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, the AD calendar was mentioned, and it seems like you said earlier, the church is in command of everything. So if you want, I guess power your house or whatever, you gotta kind of support them or at least do something with them. Because I think the rest of the world's kind of like suffering right now. I think it's what what I got from it anyway.
Yeah.
And they kind of explained briefly about Raya's name, why they call it Monday, because she was captured on a Monday. I was like, I couldn't stop laughing on that. This seems weird.
I thought it was kind of weird because they've explained that before, but they kind of almost like had Ida kind of do like this exposition type thing where she was fully explaining why Raraya's name is called, why she's called Monday. Or she captured on a Monday, therefore we'll give her a Monday.
Well, I mean, yeah, it works because she can't say her own name, so I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Which is just, of course, some device to keep us in the dark about what her identity really is, who she's associated with.
Right.
Probably maybe could be something from the moon.
Yeah, it's probably something like they want you to remember that she's still around, she's still important. Just you gotta wait. Like Emma was saying, I mean, I could see her being from maybe the moon people. Who knows? It'd be funny. I mean, because she obviously is different. Like, go ahead.
Because right now, she, when we first saw her, she was inside the G-Self. And we don't know where the G-Self came from because it wasn't developed by the American army or forces. And the Capitol Tower doesn't know anything about it. So my only explanation right now is that it came from space.
Right, yeah. That and the whole thing, it was falling, in the sky, down to Earth. So that's kind of another idea where it actually comes from. Because they even mentioned that the blueprints don't exist anywhere on Earth. Like, we don't know where it came from. So, yeah. So Monday is obviously the key to that. And the two necklaces that Ada and Bell also have, they're obviously important to the machine as well. So.
Yeah.
And like they said, they caught the machine and they don't know how to operate it, but Ada was able to pilot it because I guess it looks like her other machine, the Arcane, which I think looks better than the G-Self. I like the way it looks design-wise anyway.
I do like the G Arcane. I'm a fan of the G-Self personally. I think it looks kind of it's different in from your typical Gundam, but like in my opinion it's subtle. Like whereas it's not the Turn A mustache, right?
Right. That's
instead it's kind of got like sort of rabbit ears going on. And I think the most striking feature to me of the G-Self is how big its eyes are.
Yeah.
Like
I noticed that, yeah.
Almost make some Moe eyes out of that if you wanted to do a Photoshop flash.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, interesting. And yeah, like you mentioned the design. I know I think the mechanical designer worked on Overman King Gainer, which a lot of those machines in that series are kind of weird looking too, especially the head designs are like okay. I think the main one has dreadlocks. I'm like, okay, it's weird.
The main thing from Overman King Gainer is wearing dreadlocks and like a jacket.
Yeah,
like a winter jacket.
Like it's a snowboarder or something. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's so weird. And yeah, so the mystery of the G-Self is still a big mystery. No one knows where it came from, how to operate it, except for Bell and Ida, kind of, sort of. And speaking of that, Bell, he pilots the G-Self once again, and he decides to fight the Capital Army. Do you think that's weird, him doing that, or just because he's kind of forced to do that?
I mean, if he hadn't been forced into it, he wouldn't have, right? Because like when he starts, when the fight starts, he kind of goes out and he's got his arms open, like in a non-threatening pose, and they're kind of going towards him to sort of talk to him, and then suddenly Klim Nick just ruins everything.
He's like, nope, you're not gonna do no peace talk.
And then at that point, he was being attacked, so he had to fight back.
Right, yeah. And then, like you said, the other guy cut the fingers off Killen's robots. I was like, that's weird. I've never seen anyone do that. I'm like, that's actually a pretty smart move, actually.
I mean, yeah, that dude's really good.
Yeah.
Superb soldier.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of them are kind of like that. They're not out for kills, especially Killen. He's like, I'm not trying to get kills, whatever. He's just like he's disabling people. Like when you first see him fight, he blows legs off of the machines without killing anybody. So it's like it's kind of weird how he fights, but maybe that's just his style, I guess.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, it works. Yeah. And we do also see during the fight, Bell uses some kind of power in the G-Self. I'm like, is that like a Trans Am ability, or is it just just to make it look cool?
What did he call it? Like something cord?
He goes Su cord or something like SU cord.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he said that in the first episode too. And I still don't know what that is.
I don't know either.
Like From what I'm hearing is like people are thinking that's the name of the religion that they follow, but I just don't know.
Praise Jesus, I go, kick ass.
Right?
It could be. I mean, it's very weird. I mean, even Trans Am when you hear it in Gundam Double is weird. You know, that's even Seed mode in Gundam Seed is strange. So maybe it's just a power up just because he's the main character and he's special. I don't know. We'll see how much he uses that ability, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess he's gonna join the American army pirates right now for a bit because he owes a debt to Ada, and it's like, what debt does he owe her? Again, really?
Well, he killed her boyfriend.
Yeah.
That's what I took it to be. Like,
You're my replacement boyfriend. She killed my other one. So it's Bell's being rented out basically right now. That's what it seems like. So, and they're gonna make him pilot the G cell so they can learn more about it. I'm like, you're just making him learn it so he can keep it later on. I know what they're doing.
I mean, he's a good resource to have. When you have this machine that nobody but like him and two other people can move.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to hold on to that person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think of the episode overall?
I thought it was a lot of people have been talking about, and we kind of talked a little bit about how the first 3 episodes have been kind of crazy with all the action and all these set pieces of Bellry and Ida sort of meeting and all these fights going on. We even had a fight in this episode, but for the most part, the episode was finally able to kind of settle in a little bit, have a little bit more conversations. We had more talking points in this episode about the story in regards to the Capital Army and the church sort of commanding things, and a little bit more about Bellry's mom, and even some stuff about the calendar. And we got a little bit of action. So I think all in all, from top to bottom, I think it's the best episode of Reconguista we've seen so far.
I agree completely. Like this episode, it finally felt like they, like you said, they calmed down a little bit and actually had time to talk like humans. Like, and we actually had, so not only did we have Ballerina's interactions with the pirates, but then, you also got a little bit of Luan Lee and the buildup of the army going on, and things start just the whole political situation and the how the countries are interacting or whatever. That's all becoming a little bit clearer now, and I thought the action at the end of the episode was actually the best in the series so far, like because it was actually really exciting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to I think the one thing I can say about Tamino's direction, especially in this show, is that he's not spoon feeding us, right? Like a lot of the plot details and just technology and setting and all that stuff is kind of left up. Like everybody's talking about it like it's normal stuff, but there's no exposition.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
They're not explaining things or telling us what they are, so we're kind of left to find out as things go along, right? And in my opinion, like I'm eager to see where this goes. Like, what is going to be the central conflict? Because right now we that's not really clear.
Yeah, that's true. It's not really clear right now. I think I agree with what both these guys said. I mean, the action was cool, and it's good seeing some of the plot finally ironed out. Because we kind of have a grasp on, there's something in, from above that's coming down later on to attack them, which is probably the moon, like you said. And, we got the church and the capital army and all that. It's kind of in its own place, so it's, like you said, it's getting somewhere at least. Even if it's going to take a long time. I'm hoping this is 50 episodes. I mean, it should, for, a Gundam series, a regular Gundam, not, like Build Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
And extra stuff in this episode, there's a moment where like Monday's like humping the horror robot. I was like, what is she doing? Like when she gets out of the robot, she's kind of laying on it and moving back and forth. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
That was the weirdest scene.
It was.
Just of anything I've seen this season, because it was like, what other way can you construe it? As she's kind of has a smile on her face, she's going back and forth
she's
with
just
it.
smiling like a little kid. Like, this is fun. I'm like,
I think she was just rolling it on her stomach.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you just get Rari, being freaking goofy.
Yeah, and then she gets that goldfish later on. She's like running out in the rain with it. I'm like, this girl is so dumb. Like, what's wrong with this kid? But then I'm like, well, she got brain damage because of falling from the sky, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, the oxygen deprivation will apparently mess you up.
Yeah, and it's never gonna wear off on her until like when she gets back to normal.
Until it's plot relevant.
Yeah, so she gets hit in the head by something, or you know, wakes up. But yeah, and then you got Kilm kind of thinks he's hot stuff because one of the girls like hitting on him. He's just like, yeah, whatever. He's like, apparently he's used to it, I guess.
Well, that was the thing is, well, he's arrogant as hell.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was actually Raraia that looked at him and
Oh,
said,
yeah.
you know, in one of her moments of clarity, she says, you know, you have very beautiful eyes, very pretty eyes, or something like that. And he pulls a Han Solo and looks at her. He's like, yeah, I know, I get that a lot.
Yeah, like the only time she's like said a full sentence. Oh my
Oh
god,
man.
poor girl. Yeah, I'm waiting for it to be like, Neo from the Matrix, like, whoa, I know everything now. Like she's gonna be the super genius later on, but I don't know. She's just, yeah, she's funny. And the beam sabers in this series kind of look weird. You guys see the beam sabers in the last fight? Look kind of different to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Instead of like the whole thing where it's like a big
Uh-huh.
glowing looking sword, it's kind of just like lines. It's like
Mhm.
a thin, kind of like an orange or a green line or whatever. It's an interesting look.
Yeah, it's actually kind of paying homage a little bit to how they looked in Turn A Gundam, and even before that, Char's Counterattack. Um, I just like the idea, right? Because like, you know, you kind of get, especially with the model kits, you look at them and they have, you know, their beam saber effect parts, and it's just a big, it essentially looks like a sword that's pink, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
When in reality it's like supercharged plasma, right? So it's kind of, it's not a solid. It should look, you know, like superheated air almost.
Hmm.
So I kind of like the, you know, the attention to detail that they're going to here, right? Where, you know, when it's not, when they're not actively attacking something, it's not fully extended. It's kind of like, you know, sort of, you know, it's a shorter beam or whatever. Like that kind of stuff is really cool, especially for mecha heads.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
nice.
Yeah, I'd say, Gun Gal line. That's not how you do beam sabers. Sorry. Anyway, and I guess for the last thing I mentioned in this episode, I guess next week we get to see the masked dude, which heavily hinted in the opening. We obviously know who he's going to be, a special character, who it is. He's got blue hair. It's like, oh, I wonder who that is. Like, okay. That's one thing about anime
Yeah,
that
he's
bugs me a lot. Like, you see like a villain, he has like the distinct hair color. It's like, why don't characters realize who it is? Like, the mask doesn't cover his hair. I mean, it's
well, we don't know how they're going to react yet.
yeah,
but they've already put the guy up on the on, you know, the website and stuff, so
yeah.
we know what his alias is going to be. And anyone want to hazard a guess?
Masked man or something.
His name is literally Mask.
Oh my god. Nice.
Uh,
That's where I worked.
That's the best masked man name since Mr. Bushido from Gundam 00.
Yeah, Mr. Bushido's pretty good. I liked Zex Marquise. His name just sounds funny when you say it. Like,
Yeah,
it's a weird,
seems a
funny
little
name.
dirty.
But yeah, that's Reconguista. It's getting somewhere at least. Next we have Build Fighters episode 2 called Team Up Try Fighters, which another cheesy name. Oh, these titles make me laugh. But we get a short opening with Yuma, I guess, in his first fight. I guess his first fight? I don't know, maybe. But he's just, I guess, getting dominated by someone that basically says, you suck at this. You should quit playing. And I guess that's his traumatic past, I guess.
Yeah, he like, you know, you get a little bit of dialogue from the guy, and he says, "Oh, you were the favorite to win, you know, after you trained with last year's champion or something like that."
Mm,
And that last year's champion, of course, is Sei
right.
from the first season, right? You know, because Sei was, for all intents and purposes, going out with his older sister, and so he got some building tips from him. And I guess that kind of moment of just total defeat probably scarred him from wanting to continue fighting.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but I guess it's important. You need to have, since, say, Yuji's kind of this mystery right now, you don't know much about him, so it's like, in the beginning, because he did say in the beginning he got burned out build fighting. He didn't like doing it anymore, so I guess this explains
Right.
why.
Yeah, because we saw that he didn't like doing it in the previous episode, but we had no idea. And here we finally kind of understand a little bit more
Right, yeah.
that he's not just being a total jerk.
all right, yeah, I don't know much about season 1 stuff yet, but that was kind of a necessary scene to
Mhm.
to start off the episode.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And I like when they kind of give a little bit of backstory behind him. And there's more backstory with him later, but I'll get to that, when we get to the moment when it happens. But, yeah, so, Sekai, obviously the new kid transfers in. Everyone knew he was going to do that anyway. But he transfers into Yuma's
Mhm.
class, and both these characters kind of don't get along. I mean, he's, Yumi's kind of quiet, the other kid's kind of in your face. so they both kind of clash. They don't really get along too well. And almost to the point where Sekai's like, he wants to fist fight this kid. I'm like, what? I don't understand. Why are you gonna beat him up for? It's kind of mean, like.
Because that's how men communicate, with their fists.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just maybe another G Gundam reference. I mean, I know episode 1 was heavily with G Gundam. There's a lot of references from that, and I'm guessing that's more, more of them referencing stuff. But yeah, before we get to the actual fight this week, you have Mirai, which is Sekai's older sister, kind of talking to Hoshino, and both of them kind of hit it off. That she's like, take care of her brother while he's in the club and all this. So it's like almost like she's shipping these two together. That's what I get anyway. That's what I feel.
Yeah, there were like 2 different scenes where she was basically saying, "I hope you take care of my brother." Like, wow, she approves Hoshino.
Yeah, she's like, wink, wink. You know what I mean? Come on, take care of him. But
the funny thing to me was that it kind of felt almost like she was like releasing herself from a burden.
Oh yeah, it kind of was. Yeah.
Because she was like, oh, he's kind of dumb and unreliable and stuff, and she's like, and Hoshino, of course, was like, oh, but he's so straightforward, and I could tell or whatever. She's like, oh, great, take care of him in my place.
And it's like, I got high school to do. You take care of that idiot. Right? And I thought it was funny. All the kids in class were like, oh my god, so jealous. I'm like, that's weird to see that in this series, because it's like you would see that from like a harem series, not Gundam Build Fight. Right. It's like, it's for kids. Like, what the hell? But I guess they're just, showing that the females have an influence in this series. Like, always gonna have her around.
The first season had a little bit of that too, right? With the like every character had sort of like a distinct, there were a lot of distinct couples, right? Yeah. In the first season.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. Yeah.
So they're kind of, I guess it's kind of carrying over here. Like, you can kind of tell. Well, right now it's not exactly clear how it's going to break down with the 3 main characters, but I'm kind of saying that it's Sekai, Fumina, and you kind of at the end, I might be skipping ahead a little bit, but Yuma sort of has a thing for Sekai's sister. Yeah,
that was pretty funny. When he sees her, he's just like stunned by her, like, oh my god. And then
giving off all the sparkles and all that.
Oh, definitely. He's just like, right then and there, Sekai's like, ooh, I like my sister. You're in the club now. He's like, wait, I didn't agree. He gets pulled into it anyway near the end, but I just thought it was funny. It is funny how they have these 2 girls kind of, I like when they're involved in the story. I like that. Season 1, like you said, it was all about the 2 boys kind of, getting together and getting to know each other, and now it's got a third party, which is pretty nice to have an extra character around. And like you mentioned that, Yuma and Hoshino have this thing between them, and I guess they had a promise when they didn't look too young, maybe when they first got into high school, that they wanted to go to the tournament together. So I guess that's the big promise they made with each other. So I think that's kind of
the kids right now, they're actually in middle school.
Right? Yeah, they are. That's right.
So the school that they go to has like a high school and a middle school division.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Where Sekai's older sister, she's actually a 3rd year in high school, whereas Fumina's a 3rd year in middle school, and Sekai and Yuma are 2nd years.
Right.
Middle school.
That makes sense. Yeah, that works. And like I said, the fight happens. We get the model club versus the build fight club, which is a 3-on-2 fight because they're kind of obviously the model club's trying to bully the other club. It's kind of a given, I guess. Especially with that main character and that the president is. I don't really like him. And like Jero said, 3rd episode, his hair. Oh my god, his hair.
Yeah.
I hate that hair. Oh, good. But yeah, it's basically 3 versus 2, and they kind of start to fight, and it becomes a 2v2 really fast. Because one of the girls just like runs out there and gets shot down. Like she's like, "Oops!" Like she did it on purpose.
Yeah, she's like the annoying raid member that just kind of just decides I'm gonna go in and do my own thing. Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, Leroy Jenkins, exactly. And did you see her Otaku she had? It was like very colorful. I was like, that thing hurts my eyes.
That was a Hobby Isaac from Charged Counterattack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was actually a real mobile suit in the movie.
Well, yeah.
Wow. As the name implies, it was just kind of like a recreational mobile suit.
Oh, a piece of junk, but yeah, I get you. They would probably explain why it's so like puke rainbow colors like all over it. Like, oh god. I was like, that's probably why they blew it up. They're like, no, that should not be seen by anybody. It's a horrible color. And so yeah, the fight goes on for I don't know, like majority of the episode, I would say. and then the president's kind of barking orders to Yuma, who kind of, I feel he kind of got annoyed by it, and that's why he switched sides. 'Cause he does switch sides later on during the fight because I guess they pull out a armor, and he's like, that's illegal in this match, and I guess he feels the president's kind of cheating. I guess well, obviously he is.
He was playing dirty.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and he was using something from Gundam 00.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one suit he uses, the big bright neon green one.
Is that something from season 2 or the movie?
It was actually the first season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's the military default suit. I think that they use.
Yeah, it was specifically, God, I hate to get so specific, but it was from episode 15 of Gundam 00 when I think it was around 15 or so when they were being attacked by all three world forces, and then Ali shows up in an act, you know, wearing that big mobile armor and immobilizes Setsuna's Gundam.
Yeah.
And then the thrones show up to save him or whatever. So the scene where Yuma shoots through the Agrisa was almost exactly from Gundam 00.
Oh wow, reuse footage, huh? Nice. Just different model. Though.
I mean, it wasn't reused footage, but it was, you know, like it played out the same way.
Right. Yeah. Maybe a reference for those who catch it. Like, hey, look at this. Cool. But yeah, they kind of destroy him real fast, and I guess that's when Yuma kind of joins your club somehow. I guess I think that's what we're supposed to. I guess they imply that he joins. Obviously he does. He's in the opening, but yeah, I guess he joins, and it's just that fight was kind of not very exciting compared to the first fight, but I guess it's gonna be slow fights at the beginning right now.
Yeah, it was mainly just a way to sort of finally get Yuma to decide of Hoshino and Sekai to join the club. But you know, it was a decent battle for what we saw, but not as good as episode 1.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's pretty much the episode, I think. Really, you guys got anything else to say about the episode?
There was the girl that charged in and lost. All of a sudden went from like dork to really hot girl.
Yeah, she did. Took her glasses off. It was like, whoa.
She took her glasses off, and her braids completely undid themselves, and then suddenly she was a hottie.
And the president of the other club's like, I don't really care about the other club no more.
Well, Fumino looks at them too, and she's like, "Don't tell me she lost on purpose." Because, you know, he was totally after Fumino, right? Like, he was trying to get her to join his club because he wanted to spend some close time with her, and obviously Eri didn't like that very much, so she went out of her way to lose and be like, "Hey, forget about her. I'm right here for you."
Right. He's like, "Oh, cool, new girl."
So I was like, I was looking at that. I was like, that he didn't deserve that.
Yeah, he didn't. Really. He's being like an ass to everyone else. Like, okay, I guess she likes him like that. I guess.
Right.
And
but yeah, I was gonna say, you know, this I actually like the battle well enough. Like you said, the episode 1 was great because of, you know, the burning Gundam's reveal and all that stuff, and but I kind of like the teamwork at play in this one. And like you said, or like you mentioned in the notes, I like that this season is going to be a team of 3. Like, you know, it's going to be focusing on matches of teams of 3, so we're going to get to see some cool team play and tactics and stuff that we didn't really see a lot of in the first season.
Right, yeah, definitely. And anything else to say, Jero, in that episode?
It was good.
Nice.
Nothing much more to add.
Right, yeah, it's pretty good. And extra stuff, finally get to see the opening by Back On Again. I like them.
Oh, that opening is so good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the theme songs for both Gundam shows are really good. I think the Reconguista has my favorite overall combo of theme songs, but I mean, all the songs are pretty good.
Yeah. And we get a shot of China when she's older. It's like, yeah, she looks pretty good. She definitely aged very well. And I kind of hope we get to see more of her later on. Maybe she'll come to the tournaments. Maybe the 2 kids from season 1 will appear. Yeah, I can't say much because that might be a spoiler, but yeah.
All right.
And the quote that the old guy says, he says, you have good eyes." What Gundam is that from? I know I've heard it somewhere before.
Well, that's from the original Gundam. So so this Raul is a very special character because looks wise he's based off of Ramba Raul from Mobile Suit Gundam, and he's actually voiced by the same actor.
Right.
So, he goes in especially in the original series and this one, he goes around like, oh, he's always quoting Rumble Raw. He pilots nothing but goofs. And this one was specifically from the first series where Rumble Raw first meets Amuro.
Oh, okay.
And he looks at Amuro and kind of like, he's measuring him up and he's like, you have good eyes, boy. And what I loved about this scene was that Fumina, like, she's a Gundam fan, so she could immediately tell what he was doing, and she was like, yeah, I know what you're gonna say next. And he's like, come on, just let me say it.
Right.
In a bit of news, the voice actor for that guy is going to be replaced. The original is very ill right now.
Yeah, that's so depressing because he was such a great part of the first season, and at least we're getting him for the first 5 episodes. All I can say is hopefully the new guy, can kind of at least imitate the voice a little bit and sound good. But yeah, that's really sad to hear that he's not doing too well.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's kind of like, oh well, it's kind of a depressing thing to do. But hope that guy gets better. I mean, he obviously, anime's second priority. He has to be right now. Then recover first.
Oh yeah.
And that's been Gundam Build Fight TRY. I guess next episode they're gonna fight a three-man team from an all-girls school. And it looks like they are like big Zeon fans. They're all cosplaying as Zeon characters. Looks like they're the uniforms at least. I'm like, eh.
If you've seen the first season, you might remember Sasaki.
Right. Yeah. I heard about him. Man.
He used nothing but Gans in the first season. Well, the girl that they were talking about in the preview, that's his little sister.
Right. Yeah. She's a big girl.
So we're gonna get to see. She's a little. You know what? I like the way she looks, to be honest, because it's a little different. Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just glad to see that there's continuity with the previous season. Whether it's just like younger siblings or old characters. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be good.
Speaking of the uniform thing in the opening, Fumina is I like that uniform for reasons, of course, but she's dressed like she should be in Yowamushi Pedal instead of a Gundam Build Fighters show.
The ending one, yeah. She's wearing like this diver suit. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's very sporty.
Yeah, I guess that's what they're trying to say. Hey, look, she's a sport girl. Like,